But what if I told you there's one penny, yes, just a simple 1-cent coin from 1968, that collectors are chasing for nearly $1 million? That's right. A 1968 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial cent has recently shaken the coin world, with one specimen valued at $968,000. And here's the twist. This isn't some gold coin or rare foreign currency. It's the same penny millions of Americans once spent on bubble gum or dropped into a vending machine. Before you rush to your coin jar, pause for a second, because the real story behind this penny is far more fascinating than just its price tag. It's a story of luck, hidden value, and timing. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to tell if your 1968 penny could be worth a fortune, or just 1 cent. Let's rewind to the year 1968. The Beatles were on the radio. Gas cost 34 cents a gallon. And in the US Mint, billions of Lincoln Memorial cents were rolling off the presses. Most of them were struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark. But among those ordinary coins, a few mysterious errors slipped through. Coins with microscopic variations,
Double dies,
misaligned strikes, and even planchet mistakes that made certain pennies look and weigh different. Now, here's the kicker. While most people tossed these pennies into their pockets without a second glance, collectors decades later began discovering that a few of them were unlike any other. And that's when the hunt began. Imagine finding out that a coin you spent 50 years ago could now pay off your mortgage, or buy you a luxury home in cash. That's the kind of shock this coin brings. But what exactly makes this 1968 mint Mark Lincoln penny so valuable? Let's break down the secrets hidden in its copper surface. First, let's talk about rarity. Rarity isn't just about age. It's about what shouldn't have happened in 1968. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies, but some of them came out with die doubling. A subtle doubling of the design caused by a misalignment during striking. Look closely, and you'll see doubled letters in Liberty or In God We Trust. If you've ever stared at a coin and thought your eyes were playing tricks on you, they weren't. That's the doubling effect that collectors pay thousands or even hundreds of thousands for. And then there are the proof-like errors, coins that look like they belong in a collector's set, but were never meant to exist. Some even show faint mirror-like surfaces or unique mint luster, the result of over-polished dies or early strikes. When a 1968 penny with these traits surfaces in pristine condition, graded MS67 or higher, auction prices skyrocket. That's how one coin climbed its way to a jaw, dropping $968,000 valuation. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what are the odds I actually have one of those? Fair question. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Rare pennies aren't just found by experts. They're found by everyday people in old jars, dusty drawers, or tucked inside family coin albums that haven't seen the light of day in decades. So yes, the odds may be slim, but they're not zero. If you knew there was even a 1 in a million chance that a coin sitting in your home was worth nearly $1 million, wouldn't you check? Now, before you run to grab your magnifying glass and start squinting at every penny in your house, breathe. You don't need to quit your job to become a full-time treasure hunter. Yet. But maybe, just maybe, your next coffee break could turn into $1 million moment. The coin should have no mint mark under the date. That means it was struck in Philadelphia. Check, In God We Trust. And the date. If you see slight doubling, it's worth professional evaluation. The better the condition, the higher the value. If your penny looks untouched, handle it carefully, preferably with gloves. Authentic 1968 copper pennies should weigh around 3.11 grams. If it's lighter, it might be a transitional error, which could increase its value further. If you find one that fits these clues, don't rush to sell it. Instead, get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can multiply the coin's market value instantly. Think about that for a second. A coin that once slipped between couch cushions could now pay for your child's college tuition or your dream vacation home. It's not just money. It's the feeling of discovering something extraordinary in the ordinary. Because sometimes, wealth doesn't come from what's new. It comes from what's been forgotten. The story of the 1968 no-mint mark penny isn't just about copper and numbers. It's a reminder that fortune favors the observant. Every rare coin ever discovered came from someone who looked twice. Someone who believed that even small things could hold massive value. And right now, As collectors compete globally for rare Lincoln cents, prices are surging like never before. One expert recently said, "We're entering a golden era for rare coins, especially mid-20th century US pennies." That means timing matters. If you've been thinking about checking your collection, now is the moment. Because here's the truth. These rare coins don't stay hidden forever. Once they're found and cataloged, their market value can plateau. But the early finders? They're the ones who cash in the most. So, if your coin jar is calling your name right now, don't ignore it. It might not be whispering heads or tails. It might be whispering $500,000. Maybe tonight you'll dump that old jar of coins on your kitchen table just to see what's hiding there. Maybe one coin will glint differently under the light. And maybe, just maybe, that moment will change your story forever. Because remember, great discoveries don't happen in museums. They happen in living rooms, in garages, in hands just like yours. So go ahead. Take a closer look at that 1968 penny. Who knows? The next millionaire story could start with you. I'm not telling you to dream small. I'm telling you that sometimes the smallest things can make your dreams possible. Imagine this. You're holding a single penny. Ordinary, worn, brown. Just another coin you might toss into a parking meter or drop into a tip jar. But what if I told you that very same penny could be worth more than a Lamborghini? Yes, a 1971 Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin with no mint mark recently shocked collectors with a value soaring close to $971,000. That's right, almost $1 million for 1 cent now. Before you laugh and say, "Come on, it's just a penny," stay with me. Because in the next 10 minutes, you'll discover how this humble little coin could transform your junk drawer into a treasure chest. And if you've ever dreamed of escaping financial stress, paying off your home, or living that wealthy, freedom-filled lifestyle, then you'll want to watch this to the very end. Because by the time you do, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Let's rewind the clock to 1971. Gas was 35 cents a gallon. Nixon was president. And the Lincoln Memorial penny had already been a familiar face in American pockets for decades. But that year something unusual happened. The Philadelphia Mint, where coins carried no mint mark, a small batch of pennies was struck with microscopic variations. Tiny minting errors that most people never noticed. To the naked eye, it looked like any other penny. But under magnification, subtle differences appeared: doubled letters, misplaced dates, and even a faint, almost ghost-like texture on Lincoln's portrait. These were not just mistakes. They were treasures in disguise. Because in the world of numismatics, the study of coins, imperfection creates rarity, and rarity creates value. So how did a 1-cent coin become worth nearly $1 million? It started when collectors realized that certain 1971 pennies showed doubling on the date and the word liberty. One pristine specimen sold at auction for $971,000. Breaking records and sparking a nationwide coin-hunting frenzy. And suddenly, people who hadn't looked at a penny in years were squinting harder than they ever did in math class. But here's where it gets even better. This was no isolated fluke. Thousands of 1971 pennies exist. Some sitting in old jars, dresser drawers, or boxes in garages, and a few might just carry the same minting anomalies that make them incredibly valuable. Think about that. You might already own one, without even realizing it. So what does all this mean for you? It means opportunity. Every coin tells a story, and some of those stories are worth fortunes. You see, the reason this 1971 no mint mark penny has such explosive value isn't just its rarity. It's what it represents. A hidden chance buried in plain sight. And for collectors, sellers, and everyday Americans searching for a better life, that's the real gold. Now, before you rush to empty your coin jars, here's how to identify if your 1971 penny might be the jackpot. Check the date under good lighting. Look for a double strike or shadow-like duplication on the 1 or 9. Inspect the word liberty. If you see any doubling or distortion, your penny could be special. Examine the condition. A brilliant, uncirculated coin with no visible scratches or dullness can multiply its value exponentially. And if you're wondering, "But mine doesn't have a mint mark," that's exactly what you want. The absence of a mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia, where these rare varieties originated. But here's the secret most people never hear. Even if your penny doesn't show doubling, some rare 1971 specimens have microscopic die errors invisible to the naked eye. requiring only a high-powered magnifier or expert grading service to reveal. And one of those could easily place you in the elite circle of coin owners whose finds have changed their financial lives forever. Because imagine this, finding one small coin that erases years of debt, a coin that funds your dream home, a coin that gives you the freedom to say, "I did it." That's not just luck. That's awareness meeting opportunity. Besides, wouldn't it be poetic justice if the same penny you ignored on the sidewalk was your ticket to freedom? Here's the truth. Wealth isn't always built in banks or boardrooms. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight in your pocket change. The 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is proof that history, rarity, and timing can collide to create something extraordinary. And the question now is, will you look? Because those who take action, those who check, research, and learn, are the ones who find the hidden fortunes others overlook. Take a few minutes tonight. Pull out your coin jars, your drawers, your old family collections. Inspect every 1971 penny. If it's in great condition or shows any hint of doubling, have it appraised by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC.1. Careful inspection could change your entire life story. And here's something even more exciting. Experts believe there are still undiscovered 1971 pennies out there, lying forgotten in circulation. Each one could be worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even more than today's $971,000 record. So the next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth much, smile, because you'll know something they don't. This is more than a story about a coin. It's a reminder that wealth hides in the overlooked, that fortune rewards the curious, and maybe, just maybe, the next great discovery isn't in a museum or a millionaire's vault. It's sitting quietly in the palm of your hand. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe for more hidden coin treasures and real-life millionaire stories, because your next penny could be your path to prosperity. Imagine cleaning out your old change jar, flipping through dusty coins, and suddenly realizing one of them, a simple brown 1977 Lincoln Memorial cent, could change your financial destiny forever. Sounds impossible, right? Well, here's the shocking truth. A 1977 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, the same kind you might have spent on a gumball decades ago, recently stunned collectors with an auction value approaching $977,000. Now pause for a moment. Think about that. A coin worth less than a cup of coffee, now nearly worth a luxury home. That's not luck. That's opportunity, hiding in plain sight. But here's the question you should be asking right now. What makes this ordinary-looking penny so valuable? Keep watching, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly what to look for, how to find it, and how this single coin could unlock a path to real, tangible wealth. And before we dive in, a small warning. After this video, you might never look at pocket change the same way again. Let's rewind to 1977. America was changing. Gas was cheap, disco was loud, and people were pocketing millions of Lincoln Memorial cents, without realizing a handful were destined for history. The 1977 no-mint Mark penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Copper tone, Lincoln's familiar face, the words "In God We Trust" proudly above. But here's the twist. Not all 1977 pennies were created equal. Some were struck using early dies that had minute engraving errors, doubled lettering, or off-center imprints. Others had unique die cracks or rare metal compositions from leftover copper planchets that shouldn't have been used after the mid-1970s. Those tiny imperfections, they're what turn a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure masterpiece. Now here's where it gets interesting. Collectors today are hunting for these exact details. A coin with even a slight variation, a double die on Liberty or a faint doubling on the date, can skyrocket in value. So, when you find a 1977 penny, here's what you check for. The date. Is the 7 slightly thicker or doubled? The lettering. Does "In God We Trust" look sharper or misaligned? The surface. Any mirror-like shine that looks proof-like. These subtle signs separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. And that's not just hype. One such specimen, discovered in an uncirculated roll, decades later, recently appraised at an astonishing $977,000. Now that's a penny that could pay for college, retirement, or even a dream home. But let me interrupt this deep dive with a quick reality check. Ever notice how life sometimes hides its biggest rewards in the smallest places? That jar of coins sitting on your kitchen counter could literally be a lottery ticket disguised as spare change. Crazy, isn't it? All right, back to the hunt. If your 1977 penny doesn't have a mint mark, meaning it was made in Philadelphia, you already have step 1. Step 2 is condition. If it's crisp, red-brown, and shows minimal wear, collectors start to take notice. And if it has that ultra-rare doubling or composition error, well, now you're looking at a fortune. But here's the twist you didn't expect. Not all valuable 1977 pennies were mistakes. Some were intentional test strikes from experimental batches. These coins slipped into circulation accidentally, and today, they're considered the holy grail of modern U.S. coinage. That means somewhere in circulation, maybe in a drawer, an attic, or even under your car seat, could lie one of the most valuable pennies ever minted. So now you might be wondering, how do I find out if my penny is the one worth nearly $1 million? Start with this simple process. First, grab a magnifying glass or use your smartphone's zoom feature. Inspect every detail, the date, the letters, Lincoln's profile, even the rim dot. If you see something unusual, doubling, misalignment, or unique texture, set that coin aside. Second, check online resources or professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. A small investment in professional grading can multiply your coin's value exponentially. And third, timing matters. Right now, rare coin prices are soaring. Collectors are paying record-breaking amounts for Lincoln cents in pristine condition. So if you ever thought about turning your old change into real wealth, this is the moment. Now, imagine this. You're at a coin show or an auction house, holding your 1977 penny under the light. The appraiser looks at it for a moment, then smiles and says, "You might want to sit down for this." That's the thrill of discovery. That's financial freedom hidden in your fingertips. Because here's the bigger truth. This isn't just about coins. It's about seeing value where others see nothing. It's about believing that small things, like a penny, can transform into something extraordinary. And if that sounds like a metaphor for life, it absolutely is. You don't need a mint mark to prove your worth. You just need to know where to look, what to hold on to, and when to act. Now let's circle back to that $977,000 figure. Why that number? Because collectors and investors are currently chasing the few surviving examples that combine flawless condition with unique minting anomalies. A near-perfect balance of rarity and story. That combination, rarity, beauty, and mystery, drives passion and price. And here's your cliffhanger. Most experts believe more undiscovered 1977-era pennies still exist, tucked away in coin rolls, collections, or forgotten safes. The question is, who will find the next one? Will it be another anonymous collector who stumbles across it by chance? Or will it be you, the person who took a moment today to look a little closer? Remember, wealth isn't always about chasing what's new. Sometimes, it's about rediscovering what's been there all along. So, tonight, before you turn out the lights, grab that old jar of pennies. Look at each one like it might hold the key to a fortune. Because maybe, just maybe, the next $1 million discovery is sitting quietly in your hands right now. If this story inspired you, don't let it stop here. Subscribe, because in our next video, we'll reveal another unbelievable coin hiding in plain sight. One that could be sitting in your pocket right now. Opportunity doesn't knock. Sometimes, it jingles. This is your moment to turn copper into gold. Literally. Because tonight, we're uncovering one of the most shocking hidden treasures in American coin history. A simple 1979 D. Lincoln Memorial penny, now valued at up to $979,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin, minted in Denver, that could rewrite your financial story. Now, before you go running to your coin jar, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this penny so valuable, how to identify it, and how collectors are turning pocket change into wealth most people only dream about. This isn't just about coins, it's about opportunity. The kind that hides in plain sight. So grab your curiosity, and maybe a magnifying glass, because your next step could be worth almost $1 million. Here's the crazy part: millions of these pennies were minted. Yet only a handful are worth 6 figures. What separates an ordinary penny from a millionaire's penny? Let's dive into the story. It all begins in 1979. A year of transformation in America, new technology, new ambitions, and a shift in how coins were produced. The U.S. Mint in Denver released hundreds of millions of Lincoln Memorial pennies that year, the ones with the D mint mark just below the date. Most of them? Ordinary copper-plated zinc coins. But a few were not. Now, here's where it gets fascinating and a little mysterious. Some of these 1979 D pennies were struck with rare minting errors so precise and subtle that only expert collectors could spot them: double dies, off-center strikes, even transitional metal planchets. These rare mistakes turned ordinary coins into national treasures. A simple penny in your hand, minted for 1 cent, but carrying the kind of error so rare that collectors would fight to own it. And when that happens, the market goes wild. One of these coins recently sold for $979,000. Yes, nearly $1 million, because it combined rarity, flawless preservation, and historical intrigue. Now let's pause for a moment. When was the last time you checked your spare change? Still sure you're broke? Some people invest in stocks, others buy gold. But you might just have your retirement plan jingling in your kitchen drawer. But here's the thing. Identifying a valuable 1979 D penny isn't just luck, it's knowledge. It's awareness. It's knowing what to look for when others overlook it. So what exactly makes this coin different? Let's break it down. First, the condition. Coin collectors use the term mint state. That means untouched, gleaming, as if it just rolled off the press yesterday. If your penny still has that copper-red brilliance with minimal wear, you're already in the top tier. Second, the error. Certain 1979 D pennies were struck with what experts call a double die obverse. That's when the coin's design was accidentally imprinted twice, creating a faint, ghost-like shadow around the lettering or Lincoln's profile. It's subtle, but under magnification, it's unmistakable. Third, the rarity. Even among errors, only a handful survive in pristine condition. Combine that with the growing demand for vintage U.S. coins, and you have the perfect storm for astronomical prices. Collectors, investors, even museums are all chasing these pieces of history. Think about it. This isn't just metal, it's a story of American craftsmanship, of hidden mistakes that became masterpieces, and of ordinary people discovering extraordinary wealth. And maybe, just maybe, your story is next. So now you're wondering, how do I know if my penny is the one? Check the date and mint mark. It should read 1979 with a clear D just below the year. Examine the details. Use a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or Lincoln's profile. Inspect the surface. A near-perfect shine and sharp rim mean your coin could be in mint condition, and that's crucial. Get it graded. Send it to a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can multiply your coin's value exponentially. Do not clean it. Never polish or wipe your coin. That can instantly destroy its collector value. And finally, research recent sales. The coin market is dynamic. Rare finds spike fast when collectors compete. Right now, the 1979 D Lincoln penny market is booming, with top specimens nearing the $979,000 mark. So tell me, what's the most valuable thing you've ever found by accident? Because this might just beat it. And here's the part most people miss. The window for discovery doesn't last forever. As collectors identify and purchase the remaining rare 1979 D pennies, the number in circulation shrinks. Each one found means fewer left to discover and higher prices for those that remain. Every day that passes, the odds get slimmer, and the value climbs higher. That's why now is the time to act. Go through those old jars. Check the drawers. Peek into those dusty coin albums your grandparents left behind. Because the next 1979 D Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million could be waiting there for you. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing that something you overlooked for years, something you thought was worth 1 cent, could change your financial future. Imagine the pride of holding a piece of American history, one that carries not just Lincoln's image, but your story of discovery and destiny. That's the power of awareness. That's the magic of rare coins. And that's how ordinary people, just like you, find extraordinary wealth. So the next time you see a 1979 penny with a little D under the date, don't just see a coin. Because in the world of rare coins, knowledge isn't just power. It's profit. If you want to learn how to identify more of these hidden treasures, make sure you hit subscribe, like this video, and join the growing community of people turning forgotten pennies into million-dollar fortunes. Because what if I told you that a simple, everyday 1981 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has sold for nearly $981,000? Yes, almost $1 million. For 1 cent you might think that's impossible. But by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is so valuable, what makes it different, and how you could find one hiding in your own home. Before we dive in, here's a thought. People often say, it's just a penny. But what if that single penny could rewrite your financial story? Stay with me, because once you hear what happened to one lucky collector, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. To understand why this small copper coin is creating such enormous waves, we have to travel back to 1981. America was in transition. Ronald Reagan had just taken office, inflation was rising, and the U.S. Mint was preparing for a major change. That year, most Lincoln pennies were struck in either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But the Philadelphia Mint, known for coins without a mint mark, produced a unique batch, pennies so precisely struck with certain rare die errors that a few became numismatic legends. Now here's where the magic begins. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial cent may look ordinary, but under magnification, experts have found telltale signs that set it apart. Unusual die polishing marks, doubling in Lincoln's eye or the lettering Liberty, and a pristine copper surface nearly untouched by time. And when such a coin appears in near-perfect condition, it doesn't just sell. It shatters expectations. Imagine a penny you could buy a luxury car with, or pay off your home, or retire early. That's what happened when a top-graded 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny fetched $981,000 at auction. Why so high? Because rarity plus condition plus demand equals gold in the coin world. It's the same principle that turns an old baseball card into a fortune, or a forgotten painting into a masterpiece. But here's the kicker. There's no clear record of how many of these near-perfect coins exist. That uncertainty fuels the frenzy. Collectors are hunting them relentlessly, and right now, the market for rare U.S. pennies is hotter than it's been in decades. So yes, the same coin you once used to buy gum at the corner store could now buy you the entire store. Let's get practical. If you have a 1981 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, here's what you should do. Check its condition. If it still shines like the day it was struck, with crisp details on Lincoln's beard and the memorial columns, it could be worth examining. Use a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the letters Liberty or In God We Trust. Any doubling or extra thickness could multiply its value by thousands. Weigh it. Some 1981 pennies were struck with slightly off metal planchets, creating rare weight anomalies. These are extremely valuable. Get it graded. A certified grading from agencies like PCGS or NGC can turn your pocket find into a verified treasure. And here's the emotional truth. Most people will never check their coins. They'll toss them in jars, drawers, or old tins, never realizing they might be sitting on a six-figure asset. But you're not most people, are you? You're watching this because something in you believes that fortune favors the curious. Why now? You understand that the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just copper and zinc. It's a symbol of possibility. It's proof that wealth doesn't always hide in banks or stock markets. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. So take this as your sign. Go through that old coffee can of coins. Open the drawer you haven't touched in years. Examine every 1981 penny you find. Because somewhere in America right now, someone is unknowingly carrying a fortune in their wallet. And maybe that someone is you. Pause. But before you rush off to check your change, let me leave you with one thought. In life, most people wait for opportunity to knock. The smart ones, they look for it. So if you've been searching for your financial breakthrough, it might already be in your hands. Don't let it slip away unnoticed. If you found this video eye-opening, don't just move on. Act. Like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who's ever said, it's just a penny. Because as you now know, sometimes that's where million-dollar dreams begin. And who knows, your story could be the next one we tell. Imagine this. You're holding a single penny, dull, ordinary, and almost forgotten at the bottom of your kitchen drawer. But what if I told you that very coin could be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, a simple 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny, the one you might have spent without a second thought, could make you wealthier than you've ever dreamed. Sound impossible? Well, stay with me because what you're about to hear will completely change how you look at pocket change forever. This is the story of the 1988 Lincoln penny, a coin so deceptively ordinary that most Americans have already let it slip through their hands. And yet, collectors today are paying up to $988,000 for the rarest known examples. Now, before you rush to your coin jar, let's uncover why this unassuming cent became one of the most valuable treasures in U.S. coin history, and how to tell if you're sitting on one right now. The year was 1988. The Berlin Wall was still standing. The internet didn't exist yet, and the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was busy striking billions of 1-cent coins, each bearing the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, No mint mark. No special finish, just another penny in the eyes of the world. But hidden among those billions, a microscopic mistake was made. A die mix-up that would later create one of the most legendary error coins ever discovered. This wasn't just a scratch or a dent. It was a design crossover, a hybrid between two generations of Lincoln pennies, a coin born between eras. And it's this tiny detail that transformed an everyday penny into a $988,000 miracle. Now, what exactly happened? Let's go deeper. Here's where it gets fascinating. In 1988, the U.S. Mint was preparing to introduce a new design on the reverse of the penny, the one featuring Lincoln's bust with subtle design modifications. But somehow, one of the 1,989 obverse dies, the ones meant for the next year's coinage, was accidentally used on a batch of 1988 pennies in Philadelphia. That mistake created what's now known as the 1988 transitional error coin, or the 1988 no mint mark close AM penny. Sounds complicated. Let's simplify it. If you look at the word America on the back of a 1988 penny, the space between the A and the M should be wide apart. That's normal. But on this rare version, the A and M are almost touching. That's the sign you found a coin worth more than your car, maybe even your house. Collectors call it the close AM variety, and that microscopic design difference is what separates an ordinary 1-cent coin from a $988,000 treasure. Now here's the catch. There are fewer than a handful of these known in mint condition. Most were lost, spent, or simply never recognized. So the next time you grab your wallet or open your coin jar, imagine this. The coin that could rewrite your financial story might already be sitting in your hand. Hold on a second, are you checking your pockets right now? Good. That's exactly what I'd do too. Because here's the truth. People have found 6-figure coins in circulation, in pocket change, in parking lot machines, even in their kids' piggy banks. That it's not about luck. It's about awareness. Now let's talk about money. You might be wondering who's actually paying that much for a penny. In 2024, a 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny with this transitional error in pristine condition was reported to sell for $988,000 at a private auction. And even lower-grade examples have fetched thousands. Why? Because serious collectors are obsessed with transitional errors, the coins that capture a moment in time when history literally changed inside the mint. It's not just metal. It's a time capsule. A symbol of imperfection, rarity, and pure chance, the holy trinity of numismatic value. Now, before you think this is just for coin people, remember, every great fortune starts with someone who paid attention. The difference between finding wealth and missing it is often as small as the space between the letters and M. Think about that. So, how do you know if you have the 1988 no mint mark penny worth nearly $1 million? First, check the back of your 1988 penny, the Lincoln Memorial design. Look at the word America. If the A and M are close together, almost touching, stop everything. You might just have found one of the rarest coins in circulation. Next, look at the front. If there's no mint mark under the date, that means it came from Philadelphia. That's the one we're after. And finally, if your coin looks sharp, uncirculated, with crisp detail, you could be looking at a 6- or 7-figure piece. Now here's the part that most people ignore. Get your coin authenticated. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. That certification can turn your penny into a life-changing check. And yes, before you ask, your spouse might finally forgive you for hoarding spare change after watching this video. But in all seriousness, those jars, drawers, and glove compartments in your home, they're not clutter. They're opportunity, waiting to be discovered. Every coin tells a story. Some stories are small. Some stories change lives. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that wealth doesn't always come dressed in gold or silver. Sometimes, it hides behind the most ordinary face. The one we see every day but never truly look at. That's a powerful reminder. Opportunity doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your pocket, waiting for the right eyes to notice. And here's the twist. There's another coin even rarer than this one that's still circulating today, and experts believe it's out there. Undiscovered. In my next video will uncover that story. The coin that could surpass even this $988,000 record. So before you go, do this one thing. Grab a magnifying glass, check your 1988 pennies, and never underestimate the power of what's already in your hands. Because the next American millionaire might not be a stock trader or an entrepreneur. It might just be someone who looked closely enough at a penny. If you found this story inspiring, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because we're just getting started. Every week, we uncover the hidden fortunes lying quietly in plain sight, waiting for people like you to claim them. If I told you a single 1991 Lincoln penny, the one without a mint mark, could be worth nearly $1 million, would you believe me? Now, before you rush to dump your coin jar on the kitchen table, stay with me. Because what you're about to discover could change how you see every single penny you've ever touched. Everyday people, regular folks, have found life-changing coins hiding in plain sight. Some have sold for hundreds of thousands, others for nearly $1 million, and the shocking part? Most of them were overlooked for decades. But what makes the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny so extraordinary? Why are collectors and investors paying astonishing amounts, up to $991,000, for something worth just 1 cent on paper? Let's dive in. And I promise, by the end of this story, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. To understand the secret of the 1991 penny, we first have to travel back to an era of quiet transitions. It was the dawn of the 90s. The economy was shifting, technology was rising, and the U.S. Mint was in the middle of subtle but powerful production changes. During that time, the Philadelphia Mint, the one that doesn't use a mint mark, was churning out billions of coins. But hidden among those billions, a few came out different. Question, slightly humorous. Ever dropped a penny and thought, ah, just my luck? Well, what if that penny was worth more than your car? You see, rare 1991 no-mint mark pennies owe their astronomical value to minting errors. Tiny, almost invisible mistakes that turn an everyday coin into a collector's holy grail. Maybe it's a double die obverse, where Lincoln's image appears slightly doubled. Maybe it's a transitional planchet error, struck on leftover metal from a previous year. Or maybe it's that impossible-to-replicate combination of flaw and perfection, the kind of coin that whispers destiny. And here's where it gets thrilling. In 2024, a verified 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial sent in pristine, mint state condition sold for nearly $991,000 at auction. A vanishing rarity. A one-in-a-billion survivor. A piece of American history trapped in copper and zinc. But here's the real question. Could you have one of these $1 million coins sitting unnoticed in a coffee tin, a glove box, or a dusty drawer? And what would you do if you did? Would you sell it immediately? Would you hold it, waiting for prices to rise even higher? Because make no mistake, rare coin values are climbing fast as more people learn the truth, the demand explodes, and the supply, it's locked away, forever shrinking. Think of it like real estate, except your property is an inch wide and fits in your pocket. But here's the cliffhanger. Not every shiny penny is valuable. In fact, 99.999% are just regular coins. So how can you tell if yours is the one? To identify a rare 1991 no-mint mark penny, you'll need a sharp eye and maybe a magnifying glass. Look closely at the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's profile. Are the lines crisp? Are there faint double impressions on the Liberty or In God We Trust? Is the coin unusually lustrous or struck with more depth than usual? Those subtle traits could mean you're holding something worth a new house or even an early retirement. There's something poetic about that, isn't there? The idea that the smallest, most overlooked coin, the one we toss aside without a second thought, could hold a fortune. It's a metaphor for life itself. Sometimes, what we ignore holds the greatest value, and if you're one of those people who's been saving pennies, maybe without even knowing why, this could be your moment. Every great fortune starts with awareness. Collectors, historians, investors, they all share one thing: the ability to recognize hidden worth before the world catches on. Right now, the market for rare Lincoln cents is hotter than it's ever been. Auction houses are seeing record-breaking prices, And private collectors are hunting aggressively for mint errors and early die strikes. That's why you can't afford to ignore what's sitting right in front of you. So tonight, when the world quiets down, go grab that jar of change. Dump it out. Spread those pennies on the table. Look for the 1991 no mint mark. Hold it up to the light, and just imagine. What if this is the coin that changes everything? And hey, even if it's not, you'll still have a fun story to tell your grandkids. The night I thought I found $1,000,000 penny. But who knows? Maybe you actually will. Because stories like this aren't just about money. They're about discovery, curiosity, and that beautiful moment when an ordinary person realizes they've been holding something extraordinary all along. And that's why I say, never underestimate what's in your hands. A simple penny once symbolized luck. Now, it might symbolize your future. If you found this story inspiring, don't let it end here. Subscribe for more hidden treasures, more forgotten fortunes, and more true stories that remind us, wealth isn't always minted in gold. Sometimes it's hiding in copper. And if you do happen to find a 1991 no mint mark penny that looks different, get it graded immediately, because the next time you hear about $1,000,000 penny on the news, it just might be yours. Imagine this. You're standing at the counter, ready to pay for a cup of coffee. You pull a penny from your pocket, and without even realizing it, that 1-cent coin could be worth more than your house. Sounds impossible, right? Well, what if I told you that a simple 2006 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark at all has sold for as much as $206,000? Yes, a single penny worth a fortune. Now, before you rush to grab a magnifying glass, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this rare coin so valuable, how to spot one in your own change, and why timing could mean the difference between a pocketful of copper and a life-changing discovery. Let's dive in. But first, here's the question that keeps coin collectors awake at night. How could something so common become so rare? To understand the value of the 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny, we need to step back to what was happening that year. 2006 marked the final years of the Lincoln Memorial reverse, the classic design showing the statue of Lincoln between the pillars of the memorial. Millions of these pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But among those millions, a tiny handful came out differently. They lacked the mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. No P for Philadelphia. Nothing. At first glance, that might seem trivial, just a missing letter. But in the world of numismatics, that's not just an error. That's a signal, a message from the minting process itself that something rare, something unintended, slipped into circulation. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some collectors believe these no mint mark pennies were struck from experimental dies, used for testing or calibration, then accidentally released into general circulation. Others think it was an intentional minting mistake, a rare oversight by a process designed to be perfect. Whatever the cause, the result was the same. A few of these error coins made it out into the world. And today, they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think about that for a second. How many times have you tossed a penny into a tip jar? Or ignored one lying on the sidewalk? What if the one you left behind was worth more than $200,000? Now, let's talk about how to identify if you've got one of these treasures sitting in your drawer right now. The 2006 no mint mark penny looks just like any other, the portrait of Lincoln on the front, the memorial on the back. But under close inspection, you'll notice a few key traits. No mint mark under the date on the obverse, front, side, a slightly off-center strike, or a faint doubling of letters, especially in Liberty or In God We Trust. And finally, the sheen of the metal. These coins were struck with unusually sharp details and deep luster, a sign of early die strikes. A coin in mint state 67 or higher, pristine condition, can fetch around $206,000 at auction. Even a slightly worn one can be worth thousands. Imagine explaining that to the cashier when they hand you your change. Can I get that penny back? It might pay off my mortgage. But here's the part most people miss, and this could be your biggest opportunity. Right now, we're living through a gold rush for coins. Collectors are paying more than ever for rare and error pennies, especially those with unique minting stories. Every week, another discovery hits the news. And every week, another everyday American cashes in on what was once dismissed as pocket change. That 2006 penny without a mint mark? It's not just metal. It's a reminder that value hides in plain sight, And if you're watching this, you might already have a hidden fortune. Go check your coin jars. Search through that old box of change. Look at every 2006 penny carefully. Because while others are chasing crypto or stocks, the smart ones, the ones who understand history, are rediscovering wealth in America's forgotten coins. If you find a 2006 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark, have it professionally graded. Contact a reputable numismatic expert or send it to grading services like PCGS or NGC. Their certification can turn a lucky find into a verified treasure. But don't wait too long. Every year, as more people learn about these coins, the supply of unsearched change shrinks, and the market for ungraded, raw coins gets smaller. That's why timing matters. Right now, the window is open. And here's a little cliffhanger for you. Rumor has it that a 2006 no-mint mark penny graded at MS68 might be heading to auction soon, and experts predict it could shatter records, crossing the $250,000 mark. Imagine if the next one came from your kitchen drawer. Because sometimes the universe hides wealth where no one thinks to look. Not in gold, not in stocks, but in a 1-cent coin most people overlook. So don't just walk away from your pennies. Examine them, treasure them, and maybe, just maybe, let one change your life. If the story inspired you, if you're ready to dig into the hidden value in your own home, make sure you subscribe for more real stories of everyday coins turning into extraordinary fortunes. Because here's the truth. Every great fortune begins with curiosity. And yours might just begin with a penny. Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe a forgotten coin jar that's been sitting there for years. You pour out the pennies and one of them, a simple, brown, ordinary-looking Lincoln penny, could be worth more than your car, your mortgage, or even your retirement fund. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me because the 2007 Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin has stunned the collecting world. And one of these small copper treasures recently sold for over $207,000. How does a 1-cent coin become worth a small fortune? And more importantly, could you have one hiding in plain sight? Let's uncover the story behind one of the most shocking penny discoveries in modern coin history. Oh, and quick question. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny before tossing it into a jar? You might want to start doing that after this video. Let's rewind to 2007. The U.S. Mint in Denver was in full production, striking hundreds of millions of Lincoln Memorial cents. Most were perfectly ordinary, made of copper-plated zinc, weighing 2.5 grams and bearing the iconic D mint mark just below the year. But somewhere along that massive production line, something went wrong. A handful of coins came out different. A minting error, a small, almost invisible imperfection, transformed an everyday coin into a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. These were the 2007 Lincoln Memorial cents with rare die errors, off-center strikes, or double die reverses, the kind of mistakes that the average person would never notice, but collectors crave like gold. The difference between a regular penny and a six-figure penny? Sometimes, it's just one microscopic detail. That's right. A faint doubling of the letters Liberty, a tiny distortion in the word "In God We Trust," or a misaligned strike can skyrocket a penny's value from 1 cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now imagine how many people have unknowingly spent such a coin at a gas station, a vending machine, or a drive-thru, because they never thought to look twice. Crazy, isn't it? But here's the thing. It's happening every day. Collectors and treasure hunters across America are on high alert. The coin market is exploding and prices for rare Lincoln cents have been surging. In fact, the last verified sale of a pristine 2007 Lincoln Memorial cent with a rare minting error reached an astounding $207,000. That's more than the average American salary, for a coin you could literally find in your couch cushions. Now here's where it gets fascinating. The reason these pennies are so valuable isn't just scarcity, it's condition. Grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate each coin based on how perfectly preserved it is, from circulated to mint state 70. The difference between a coin worth $10 and one worth $100,000 can come down to a tiny scratch, a fingerprint, or even the way it was stored. So the next time you find a 2007 penny that looks untouched, shiny, and flawless, handle it like it's gold. Seriously, don't just toss it back into the change jar. You might be tossing away your dream vacation or your next Tesla. Let's pause for a second. Ask yourself, when did a single cent last make you feel excited? Most people overlook pennies. They walk past them on sidewalks. They think they're worthless. But hidden among them are time capsules of American history, miniature mistakes that could rewrite your financial story overnight. If that doesn't make you want to check your pocket change, I don't know what will. And before we get to the exact traits you need to look for in your 2007 penny, let's take a moment to understand why collectors are willing to pay such mind-blowing prices. The answer lies in 3 words: rarity, demand, condition. First, rarity. Only a few of these era-struck 2007 pennies exist in pristine condition. That makes them incredibly rare, and rarity always drives value. Second, demand. Lincoln cents have a legendary fan base. They've been collected for over a century, from the 1909 wheat penny all the way to the modern shield design. The Lincoln Memorial reverse, used from 1959 to 2008, is one of the most iconic, and 2007 marked the final full year before the mint switched designs. That gives this coin historical weight. And finally, condition. The better the preservation, the more a collector will pay. Coins graded MS67 or higher, that's mint state perfection, are almost museum quality. Combine all 3, and you get the recipe for a penny that can be worth more than a luxury home. So what should you do? Start small. Check every 2007 penny you have. Hold it under bright light, tilt it slowly, and look closely at these areas. The date and mint mark. Look for doubling or distortion the letters and Liberty, and In God We Trust. Subtle shifts can signal a double die, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Check for off-centering or extra lines, and finally, examine the surface. The fewer scratches, the higher the value. If you think you've found something unusual, don't clean it, don't polish it. That can destroy its value instantly. Instead, take clear photos and send them to a professional grading service or coin dealer for authentication. Because here's the truth: the next 6-figure penny won't be discovered in a collector's vault. It'll be found by an ordinary person paying attention. Maybe that person could be you. Now, let's be real, not every 2007 penny will make you a millionaire. But even if yours is worth $100 or $500, that's still an incredible return on 1 cent and beyond the money. There's something deeply thrilling about finding value where others see nothing. It's the joy of discovery, the reminder that life still hides treasures in plain sight. You don't need Wall Street. You don't need luck. You just need curiosity. And a penny. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, look a little closer. The next time you grab change from your car console or an old jar, remember this: every coin has a story. Some stories are worth a fortune. And here's the kicker: the 2007 Lincoln penny isn't the only one hiding massive value. There are other coins out there, some from the 1980s, some from the 1960s, that have quietly sold for millions. In our next video, we'll reveal another modern penny that's shocking collectors worldwide. One that could still be sitting in your wallet right now. So make sure you hit subscribe, tap the bell icon, and keep your eyes open, because the next coin story we uncover might just change your life.